Thanks for staying with us. So about 9 people have been rescued according to the current story, and 14 people are already dead from the recent building that collapsed with more than 21-story buildings around, 21-story, like 21 floors. Around 2 p.m. it collapsed yesterday. Now the building located on Gerald Road in Lagos City's affluent neighborhood Ikoyi is a construction site for luxury apartments. It is unclear how many people were actually inside the building when it fell, but people were feared dead, and as I've mentioned now, about confirmed from the Lagos State government press release, 14 people. And the search and rescue operations from the multiple agencies continued up until even this morning. They're still there, trying to, or this evening rather, they're still there trying to get as many people out of that building. That's the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. So this is actually very saddening, because first of all, we do not know how many people are currently missing. A lot of family members are there right now trying to see, clamoring that they want to help the people. They're trying to see how they can come in to just get people out of that building. An eyewitness has said that they felt the building moving, right? It felt like an earthquake had happened, right? These are like different accounts from people. I watched the press briefing yesterday when someone was saying that about 50 people were trapped in that building, but up until now, we cannot ascertain. So the question for tonight is, right, who should be held accountable when things like this happen, when there's a collapse of a structure that is supposedly supposed to be, in fact, this kind of projects are not small projects, right? They're not small projects in terms of the finances, that is put. From what we gathered yesterday, all 3-bedroom apartments in this 21-story building were fully paid for. Exactly. So it's already fully paid. So it's not like you do not have the money to do a proper structure. Off-plan gives you the capacity to be able to use people's money to build a structure, right? So who should be held accountable for the incident that happened and other building collapse, right, in any part of the country or any part of the world? Who are the people that should be held accountable? Now let's narrow it down to Lagos State. Who should be held accountable for this death? Now please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, so yesterday was an interesting, it was a mixed feeling for me, because I keep wondering, how on earth, right, do we keep doing things anyhow without putting people into consideration? It's just like a landlord. You're building a house. This is human beings that will live in this house. You need to see the kind of construction. When I was in rented apartment, getting an apartment is hell. You go into the structure. To do inspection. You keep asking yourself, please, were they thinking of a human being living in this property, or they were thinking of an animal, like it was a rat that was going to live in the property? I was with my friend today, and she was telling me, because she's into interiors, she was telling me that she was trying to do up an interior for a house, build 5-bedroom mansion, that they were just trying to hang some decorative pieces on the wall. Milola, they couldn't apart. If they put the nail, it just goes into the wall. True. Now, when I saw this building collapse, it's a different thing with the structure, with this kind of structure. That there's a way it will collapse. Very few people will die. You know why? Because the beams, the pillars are still strong, so it keeps room.
It can sustain the level of collapse.
Thank you. Look at the way this thing it collapsed like bread.
Yes.
Like it crumbled like breadcrumbs.
Like a pack of cards.
Do you understand? So how on earth
can this
happen?
Be erected, and
nobody, no agency.
Recall that the building was supposed to have been a 15-story building, and they now decided to add to it. That is
6 more floors.
6 more floors. I mean, already the structural engineer should have known that something wasn't right with the building in the first place. Now, if I was going to say who we should hold accountable, before I respond to that, let me give you a breakdown according to a certain research. And this research was by the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, NBRRI, in Abuja. It says according to this research, 30.17% are greedy contractors. Greedy contractors should be held responsible for, having being not adhering to.
Let's have a deeper
somewhere.
analysis. Yeah.
Yes. Greedy contractors should be held responsible because of lack of adherence. Then we have 12.7% should be is due to inadequate regulatory framework. Then 23.8% is due to quackery, that is untrained individuals who become developers. Then we have 19.83 individuals on 83 individuals who what's it called now, is on insufficient quality control. Now, in this context, we do not have quality control individuals that actually go there to assess them and monitor them.
Okay, so I want...
Now, because of this, based on this breakdown, what the research stated was that regulators are supposed to be held responsible. Now, if regulators are held responsible, why shouldn't we hold the regulators responsible? Because they lack accountability. Nobody goes to their offices to tell them, why did you approve this? Why did you approve that? Why did you approve this building in the first place?
I was going to say that I wanted to punch a hole on the greedy contractor part, because yesterday we had read a letter where the contractor, right, wrote to the client and saying they were withdrawing their services because they could only vouch for the ground up to the 15th floor. No, up to the 4th floor.
Okay.
They pulled out their services at the 4th floor and said that they can only vouch for the quality of the structure up until the 4th floor where they personally supervised. Right?
Okay.
So from the 4th floor even to the 15th, then to the 21st floor, they were saying, of course, based on the letter, it was already an indictment. And don't forget that this building was already sealed in 2020 by the governor of Lagos State.
Regulators.
So I love the fact that you concluded with regulators.
Regulators.
Now you see these people, they come to your building to mark big red X.
Yes.
Right? They, first of all, if you notice, they only go to highbrow areas.
They only do that to get you to pay them. That all marking is set up to access and siphon funds out of business. It's not because they are doing due diligence and proper quality control of work.
Not at all.
Unfortunately, that's the reality of our system. It's unfortunate that we had a lot of people die, and even the owner of the building in question died. Now, it is easier for people to say, oh, it serves him right, and to assume that he deserved what he got. But sometimes the way karmic actions are activated is a bit different from human experience and understanding.
I don't think he's dead, though. According to the report I heard today, I'm not sure.
I saw that
there are too many speculations about whether he's alive.
Right
yes.
now.
Was it found in the collapsed building, or it wasn't there at all? Because from what I saw,
there are mangled bodies in that building right now.
So they've not been able to identify the people that were found there.
Yes.
It's rather unfortunate that people will die based on sheer carelessness and selfishness of some people. Because it's not just one man that builds a building. It takes a lot of people. And everybody, from the engineer to the structural engineer to the architect to there's a lot of pots of responsibility that comes together to make a building stand. I mean, I've supervised a building project before, so I was able to understand that it's not even the fault of an engineer. You can't even put the blame on one individual.
At all.
But one thing that is critical, that is evident from this, is a lot of flaws in character. Without a doubt, we are a race, we are a people. This building is just a proof of the deficit. So
now let's
in
even
our
speak
system.
on the character of the person, because you mentioned character. This man used to live abroad. I mean, people watched the video where he was talking in an interview, where he was saying that, oh, these are things that he does abroad. Why don't he wants
to bring it home?
Would that standard have
dropped
because
he moved?
Could
he traveled from one country to another?
The Nigerian factor affected the standard, because there's no how you are a builder abroad that you will not. I mean, my father is a builder, right? A lot of times, in fact, he's super busy. He does not even have time because he pays proper attention. My house where we live in today, and so many projects in the farm. He's the one that personally supervised and built for us. You know, in fact, when we were building our foundation, interestingly, my brother-in-law was saying that this is too much, you know, because
for the size
I mean, you're just building a 3-bedroom house. Why you making it reinforcing the foundation is too much? My father said no, because tomorrow they might decide to say they want to take off the roof and take it up and all of that. These can go 2 more floors up, you know, because there's a solid foundation. Even as at then, right, with all the structural integrity of that project, we didn't spend so much, right? In Nigeria, you have overinflated properties, and yet, if you have spent a lot inflating a property to certain amount, why don't
does
you
at least does it not already accommodate the cost of structure,
the right property? Because in building, from the rod, you know, to the concrete mix, there are so many factors that play out in a structure. Because I was weak when I saw that this is a high-rise of 21. The rumble was too much. A high-rise building just coming down like, you know, as if it was a dry bread.
Nothing.
You know, so for me, that was really alarming.
You have already touched on one of the areas for me. Let's take out this building that fell aside. We are a race that have no knack for perfection or excellence in our deeds. And people do not carry just one attitude on one aspect of life. It affects every aspect of our lives. It is evident that they are used to cutting corners. For someone that has an approval for a 15 floors to take the liberty to stack more 6 floors
extra,
and it would naturally affect the building integrity of the lower floors. It goes to show that there's a high level of impunity in our system. There's a high level of rots and mindlessness amongst our people, to the degree where you can perpetrate such wrong and be cool about it.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to show that it's not just in this building that this kind of character flaws manifest. It is something that cuts across every aspect of our lives as human beings. And then again, just like you also mentioned, this building was sealed as a 2020 by the Lagos State government. He evidently did not take the liberty or the onus on himself to open the building without some form of consent. Absolutely. Someone behind closed door must have granted him access. Absolutely. In spite of the inspection that said this building is not fit for continuation of construction.
Okay, so talking about that, the Lagos State government, of course, released a press statement saying that they had suspended the GM, Lagos State Building Control Agency. That's Mr. Bolahon, okay? I think that's his name. And it has set up a panel. And in this panel, it constitutes of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Nigerian Society of Engineers, and other professional bodies that would come into that panel to probe this, what's it called? This act.
To me, that appeared to be a very reactive measure.
Thank you.
What happens to proactive measure to even avoid such things in the first place?
Let me even land safe. Someone sent me a message and said he's so appalled.
It's disgusting
that it's in fact, let me find that word that he used. When he was talking about this press release, that the government that is enunciating, that he is enunciated by the state press release that the governor released through his press secretary, that whoever did that release press statement, they should carry that person and go and tie. This is according to say, they should go and tie the person to go and
put a big lump of rock.
Let him smell the dust, smell the maimed bodies, and understand this is not a function of suspending the gem. This person that they have suspended should be in handcuffs and should be sitting down, chilling somewhere in jail. Because until we get...
You are holding one person accountable for the wrong of many.
Wait, I'm not saying... So I'm saying that it is beyond just suspending and probing. Right? For a building to have been sealed, and you now come out, and just the building continued, and this happened. It tells you that, of course, corners were cut. And you as the boss, you cannot, everything rises and falls on leadership. You cannot turn a blind eye and say, I was not aware.
Yes.
That is your job. So as the boss of this building agency, first of all, you need to be arrested. Because this is murder.
And that's where accountability
That's it.
comes
They are accessories
in.
to murder. Really plain
See,
and simple.
It still comes back to
It's-
quality control, and it still comes back to the fact that we have the government agencies that go in there, assess the situation, and still take one bribe or the other and walk away and turn the blind eye. Now, what if we had independent professional bodies, for example, and with these independent professional bodies, look at what has happened in different things that individuals have taken upon themselves to do. If you go to a particular estate, for example, when you get there, what do you see? You see that in some areas, the building is not supposed to be higher than a given level. That means that in that estate, they decided that the quality control will be in check. They go there, they check everything out, and they allow the individuals in that estate not to build structures beyond a particular type.
I understand.
Who is
Now,
emotional.
but we do not have things like this in the government agencies, where we have the checks and the balances.
So this thing
so
I'm
if we
saying
have
to you, Issy,
a professional, independent professional body that can do this, not depending on the government.
It means what you are rightly saying is that the government is not fit to run governance. If they cannot, the government is supposed to be the body that would regulate and ensure control.
They regulate, but nothing is being done.
It means there is. It means that
you said something earlier, a few minutes ago, about being reactive instead of them being proactive. Any professional body or a professional independent body would look at the proactive measures instead of the reactive measures.
Let me help you this matter. Real estate right now in Nigeria
is a cash cow.
Thank you.
I agree.
Every Tom,
Is a
Dick,
cash
and Harry
cow.
is going into real estate.
Yes.
There is, so the job.
It means that there's
that
a lot of gaps that these people are cashing in on.
Thank you.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
the government, see, listen, so this one is not an independent body.
It's not an independent body's
You cannot
responsibility.
leave that responsibility because look
It
at
is
the
a
time
government's
the
responsibility.
Lekki Garden collapse happened, right? What happened afterwards? When
was it?
synagogue church happened, what happened afterwards?
I was going to say that this panel that was set up, for one, I expect that nothing will come out of that. It sounds to me, I'm sorry, like a political response, just to put out a nice face and make it look like, oh, the government has done something. We need to hear the outcome of that panel. We need to know what government is going to do to be able to prevent such reoccurrence. And unfortunately, this kind of thing only make news for a couple of days. Next week, Tuesday, it's all gone. Unfortunately, the lives that have been lost, there is no account for it. It means that we don't even have proper accounting for citizens of this country because we do not have a documentation, no census, no capture of human beings. So people can go dead without any proper accountability. Except somebody comes and say, oh, my brother or my son or my husband works at this facility and I haven't seen that person. Then they declare that person as a potential individual caught in that debris. It's
So
unfortunate that this is the state of our country.
How do we regulate the development? Okay.
Because even this thing you said now, every single worker in that place should be a manifesto. Professionally, you're supposed to give, I mean, there's no time my father is going on a project that the list of the workers are not. You should have a manifesto. Let's take a break. When we come back, we want to open our
ideal
phone lines.
environment, yes, the
Stay with us,
manifesto will
we'll
be
right
there.
back. All right, so if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we're asking who should be held accountable in cases of building collapse. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone line is now open. When you call us, please turn off the volume of your television set so we can hear ourselves. And the number to call is 07025007749. That's the number to call. Please turn off the volume of your TV so we can hear ourselves. So I was saying that for every project, right, you're going into a project, you should have a manifesto. You should say, okay, the mason, this is the mason in charge, this is this, a proper working document. We don't have that in this. And this is not a structure that is just more. It's not a two-bedroom.
It's not a personal apartment structure.
For a structure of this magnitude, this is an indictment on the Lagos State government. is a big indictment. So it tells you that, I mean, I was in a meeting with someone and the person says, now going forward, until a building, a high rise is 5 years old, I'm not stepping into it. Because if it's 5 years at least, if anything wants to happen,
You see the crack on the wall
it would have happened by then.
When I even saw that building made the news, I thought it was one of the abandoned secretariat building.
In fact, let's hold that thought, because even that abandoned building, we're coming to it. Let me take Peter. Thank you for calling, Peter.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Fantastic topic. Oh, I must share your sentiment about your passion and how sad you are. But the reality is simple. From last year, October till now, of NSAS, I can give you 10 topics in Nigeria that has made us to forget the previous topic of the other week. NSAS, judges, police brutality, sex, rape, corruption. There's always a drama and a comic relief in this country. There's the level of impunity in this country. Let me tell you, China has over 100 and something crimes on death penalty. Do your research. Nigeria does not even have to 10 as death penalty. The very day we start making people example and accountable for anything that has made any Nigerian life to be lost, Nigeria will sit up. Let's make examples of people. I can tell you that this 21-story building that just fell or collapsed, in the next 10 days we'll forget it. We'll go into the abyss in our subconsciousness. Something else will take it. That shows you how fickle we are as human beings. There's a fundamental problem with Nigeria. And it pains my heart. Because what will happen is that a proponent will come, the rigmarole will come, and we'll never hear. You made a statement about the synagogue problem. The lady after EC made a fundamental point that we are too fickle with our mindset. What is the way forward? We must make scapegoats of people in this country for Nigeria to move forward. I'm happy that some people were rescued today, but a lot of people will forget these issues in 10 days' time. We'll discuss it again. Issues will come up and we'll forget it. Let's just pray for people that were rescued, and let's ask for internal rest and peace for people that died. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. It is that scapegoat that we have not always had that causes
makes it to
a
be
repeat. Because
what happened
if
with
you
the
know
girl that the school that collapsed in Lagos State? Do we have a scapegoat for that? The school that collapsed in Lagos State, I think this was about 2 years ago or last year or so.
And it just goes on there.
And
that's the sad thing for me.
Nothing happens.
Anything happen, it makes
No
the news. Everybody
accountability.
rushes. Even the Inspector General of Police was at the scene.
the deputy governor was
And
there.
everybody rushes to the scene just to identify with the cause. But nothing is being done about the cause.
See, if,
nothing is being done
Lagos
to
State
prevent.
government does not produce at least 4 agencies, bosses or something that signed off this building to reopen and take them to jail, for manslaughter. That's the charge they will charge them for.
Yes,
Accessory
because
to
it's
Do you
not,
understand?
no,
If manslaughter, if they do not take them to jail, then they are not ready. They are not ready.
And if they don't, what are you going to do about it?
No, it means that they are also culpable. Then we should know that we do not have
A
leaders.
government.
We don't have a government.
He didn't have to. We didn't have to. Unfortunately,
Let me take Usman.
Jesus, this country.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, I greet your guest, please. Yeah, the topic you guys are discussing is very important. And I share the view of the last caller. I don't think anything would be done. The state government have announced that they will investigate the matter. Well, that is the end of it all. In this country, anybody that is building that kind of a building is very influential. He has the wherewithal, he has the money. And you know that very well that rich people don't get out with everything that they want. And I can bet you nothing, as in really nothing, will come out from this thing. The announcement is just for us to hear. That is all. Behind the scene, it will be settled. May the soul of the departed rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. That's everybody believes that nothing is going to come out of this.
That's why I asked you, what if they don't do nothing?
If they don't, then let us know that we do not have a government.
And then what are you going to do? Are you going to change country? Are you going to change nationality?
It's
We need
very
to
sad.
go beyond expecting government to be accountable, to taking measures that forces them to be accountable.
And that is why I will still
Really?
come back again to having an independent professional body that will handle quality control.
No independent.
They
The
have to be
people
empowered
that are
to
in
do
this
so.
independent
They will
body
be
are not
empowered.
aliens. They are
Yes, no.
Nigerians.
Yes, they are
You see,
Nigerians. They are
the fact
Nigerians,
that they
but
are in a
they're
structured
independent.
environment does not mean that they are better.
independent.
It doesn't mean that they are better
See,
than the
just
current
like,
people
okay,
in
The only
government
thing that can solve
service.
this problem is our rules.
I agree.
Rules. If you put rules that says you will go, they will hang you.
Not just rules.
Nobody will die again.
Not
for
just
this
There are
Nicholas
rules.
building.
And these
you don't
rules
understand.
are
Have you?
enacted.
You've never worked
They
in.
are
You've never worked in
executed.
government before.
If
I
they're
have
not-
worked
if they're not
in civil
implemented,
service, and
nothing
I
will
understand that
happen. Yes.
nobody has structure and document more than civil service.
Hold on,
There
let
are-
me take that.
there
one.
are-
Still no
Let me take
implementation.
Charles from
Exactly.
Hi, Charles.
Implementation.
Yeah, good evening, Noah, and your guest in the studio.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Well, it's very unfortunate what happened in Lagos yesterday. I mean, it's really very unfortunate. From the figure we got, that people that were trapped in the building, they are up to 50 or so, and up till now, I think they've managed to recover 17 bodies, meaning that there are some people that are still trapped
Never be
inside.
found.
Maybe by tomorrow now, that will be like 48 hours or so, thereabout. I don't really know the fate of those people, whether they will still be alive. You see, there are so many things that is really wrong in this country, and I don't really know where you're going to start from. You continue to mention things every day. You have things that happen in this country that give you the cause to feel like, why would you find yourself in this part of the world? There's so much wrong things going on, like there's so much corruption going on in this country. You can imagine that building was suspended last year, and something still happened somewhere, and maybe money exchanged hands, and that building continued. That goes a long way to show you the level of decay that we have in our system. There are so many parastatals and so many government agencies that there's so much. Even this one is just a toy of what happened. There are so many government agencies that the level of corruption that is going on inside is very too much, and it's very alarming. Don't be surprised that at the end of it, nothing will come out from this one. No. They just told you that they started a panel of inquiry. Do you know how many panel of inquiry that is lying on in one dustbin or one dustbin or the other? At the end of the day, they will just arrange all those things and dump somewhere. That is the end. I just feel for people that have lost their life. Someone that had that 21-story building, do you think is a struggler or an average person?
It's not.
It's someone that is very connected in society. Nothing will come out at the end of the day, and that's what hurts me about this country. We don't really have any system. If really that people have been set example with one or two person, I don't think things like this will continue. Thank you very much. That's
Thank
my
you
take.
so
I
much,
think for people that
Charles.
have lost their life.
You know, I was going to ask the ladies, what do you think about our National Emergency Management Agency,
I
the NEMA?
was going to talk
Yeah.
about the fact that what is our rescue system? Our rescue system is totally
Zero.
It's poor.
It is
Zero.
zero. It's non-existent.
None.
If just ordinary fire, for example, you have a building on fire and you call them to come in.
Do you know how long it takes? And then they come. They don't have.
They
don't
come in
have
and they tell
the,
you they
the
don't have
equipment.
water.
They don't have
It-
water
look,
to put water fire
our
out.
emergency.
How can a
is-
building collapse and people are only 17 people have been rescued? It goes
By
to say that
now-
we might as well declare dead people we do not know.
No, 14 plus 9. So 9 alive, 14. So that's about 20.
21.
We might as well declare
23.
dead unknown individuals, because this is just an estimate based on the people that were probably around the
If-
property at the time of the collapse.
If
And unfortunately, like you mentioned, there is no record of crew or staff or workforce to be able
Manifesto.
to say that so and so building were scheduled to be on site, and these are the responsibilities. So based on that schedule, you can then track who should be where At least to even narrow it down to who could be the
So you are telling me that we can't get a scapegoat?
We will not, in quote, not we cannot. We will not. We can.
We're not wired
We
to. We're not
can.
wired to instill the discipline that will bring the change that we desire as a country. I sat with somebody yesterday and I was having a conversation, and some of what touched me that I went away with is, you have to pay a price to win the prize. A lot of us are not willing to pay the price to win the prize. And it's just sad that we expect magic, we expect miracles, but we're not willing to get into the process and do the work. One, it is one thing to plant, it's another thing to water, it's another thing to wait. We are not a people who is ready and willing to do the needful as individuals. First, this level of rot doesn't come from just the building structure collapse. It runs across our entire value system.
Let me take Bisola from Ibadan, I think. Thank you, Bisola, for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Oh, that's a lady.
Bisola, you're live. Is she there? Hello, Bisola?
I think we've lost her.
Did Bisola? Okay, so...
Well, it's... Milola has practically said it all. The system is corrupt. The decay in the system cuts across border. It's not just at the bottom, it's at the top, it's everywhere. And implementation is our watchword that has been totally neglected in every ramification. Where we are supposed to implement policies, we neglect them and ignore them and turn the other eye. So it's totally out of, what can I call that word now? It's totally out of our hands.
Ah, this well. He's from Benin. Thank you for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
In civilized climes, the governor of a state, or maybe the owner of an airline or a transport company, if a tragedy happens like this,
You resign.
they will fly in the next plane, the transport company, or even any house or any estate they are building, they will be there to win the confidence of the human beings and the state and everybody to say, I'm here with you. Empathy. We're not ready as a country. What's the way forward? I always like to bring solutions. We must be ready to take those hard decisions, to say that Nigeria must move forward. I'm even very happy that it happened in Lagos State that has moved ahead of Nigeria as a country. Just imagine a 21-story building collapsing in Abia, Benin, Sokoto, or Ibadan. You are complaining about the emergency service not coming on time. We should even, to some extent, commend the emergency service in Lagos, because the internet age has been able to give us the opportunity to express our views and put this people on the spot. The face of the human being that has a 21-story building is on the internet. That's the positive about the internet age, because take your mind 20 years back.
Nothing will come out.
It will have been swept under the carpet and nobody even know the face of the human being. And those letters that came out, 20, it was suspended. We now know who to hold responsible. We might not get the justice that we want, but we'll get somewhere one day.
Thank you, Ohis.
Thank you very much.
You know, this cuts across just not only buildings, infrastructure generally in Nigeria. I mean, I remember my dad was offered a road construction job in Kaduna. He turned it down. He turned it down because they weren't willing to give the complete money that would deliver a quality job. The man just told him in Hausa, like, you just pour sand now, you don't have to do the job, just pour sand. And my father now said, so people will drive on this road and die, and their blood will be on my head. So it's, I mean, look at it, on the roads alone, we know how many people have died based on potholes, bad road state of our roads, you know. So there are so many issues that we have when it comes to human life. We do not place value on human life. Now, if nobody's head is hung for this, then I know that we are not a serious people. Let me take Kudirat. I think our final call. Thank you, Kudirat, for calling. You're live.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Go
hear
ahead,
you.
please.
Okay. My own opinion is that I think we have a failed system. That I'm certain about.
Go ahead.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay, I said we have a failed system, obviously. So for up till now, because from what I heard in the news today, I heard the supervisor has been suspended. I don't think that is the way forward. That's not the way out. That is not the way out.
Thank you, Kudirat. I think he should be handcuffed and be chilling inside one police cell. It's not just enough for you to suspend the GM of the place. It is whoever gave all those things, because human lives, people's life have gone on this matter. This is manslaughter, for goodness sake. Now.
It's one thing. It's unfortunate people died. Some people's investment and finance have gone into the project. There is who are you going to hold accountable? Who's going to do a refund of the money that they have paid for those properties? There's a lot. There's a lot of kettles here. There's a lot of areas to touch, but it's unfortunate that we are in a system where we give up because the system has failed us time and time again. But I feel that we need to go beyond just anguish and expression of pain because of the immediate pain that we feel. We do not need to become a reactive citizen the way our government are reactive.
Yeah.
We need to be more proactive. It takes, I was talking with somebody again about how nobody wants to volunteer themselves for the change that they desire to see in this country. And we think that somehow, somewhere, we're going to turn around and then the country is going to be fixed. By who? By
Let
who?
me hear your final thoughts.
Really?
My final thoughts: implementation, regulation. Everybody who is supposed to, who is supposed to do their job in terms of quality control should do it. They should not, in quote, turn a blind eye, because someday I'm always going to look at it from the emotional point of view, which has to do with tomorrow. It could be you. It could be this thing that happened here
anybody.
could have happened to anyone. Anyone could have walked into that building. Oh, lovely structure. Let me take a look. And before you know it, they are all going down. So it can happen to anybody. We should just, do what we are supposed to do and do it right, basically.
Benson says the potholes that caused accident that leads to multiple deaths. Who has ever been sanctioned?
Nobody.
From it? Absolutely
Exactly.
nobody.
It's unfortunate.
So for me, I think what I hope for is we get to a point as a people where things happen, you actually, people, you are in a position of authority, right? There are some things you should collect bribe for. Because you can't take away corruption. But there are some things that are sacrosanct. Do you understand? That
How do you measure what is bribable?
If you want to do, Milola,
the moment you put that
if the money, listen to my explanation. Because you see, I've come to that before. I will say, no corruption, nothing. No. You want to eat money. This cup is what? 200 naira. You can say, okay, it is 300 naira.
Inflation.
And thank you.
Have you talked about the rippling effect of inflating prices?
Milola, I'm just trying to say that my point is we can't eradicate corruption. It has eaten deep into our civil service, right? Because these people that are regulators, this is how they make money. Somebody was telling me something that why would you accept a job? Okay, we had Kemi Onabanjo yesterday. We're talking about leadership. That why would you accept a job where they're paying you peanuts? You would only accept a job where they're paying you peanuts because you know that you can cut corners. So I'm saying that if you want to cut corners, please, there are some things
Cut it right.
You understand? You can't go to a hospital where you're supposed to supply a certain a kind of drug, and you supply a fake drug or something.
You are sounding as though these people have some form of empathy, just like the last caller said. Human beings that are desperate, and they will seek funds and finance from every way possible. They are not going to do cherry picking.
There are no limits.
They are not going to cherry pick and say, oh, this looks like something that would affect life. Trust me, they are all connected. Nothing is exempted, and nothing should be say, okay, this, if you steal money in this department or in this ministry, is pardonable or no.
Because
you can't have it like that.
Where I gave up on Nigeria was when you hear about COVID outside the country, you hear people, oh, this person died. They're trying to, they show empathy. They try to stand in, be passionate about it, and
everything is a money-making venture.
The moment it entered Nigeria, it became business.
Money-making venture. Why?
Business.
You know what?
So I lost everything right there.
It's interesting.
It can't be all about money.
It's interesting you needed to see these examples before you understand the level of decadence.
Well, thank you, Isi. Thank you, Milola. Before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. Thank you to everyone that called and the ones that tried to call.
It's a very depressing
Before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, we're planning a giveaway. Say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand and for following the conversation. So do also follow us now. It's at PlusTvAfrica. Like, share, invite your friends and family to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. The building collapse is an act of carelessness. Therefore, the action should be taken. Things should be taken into strict action. People never saw these things before decades. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.